Hi there, Ms. Shari's here again. I am wrapping up a project for my classroom. This project contains 4 of the principles that help to sort of guide my teaching philosophy in my classroom and at the school that I work at. It's a classical education school. And of course, if you've watched any of my videos, you know that it's important to me to be surrounded by images that inspire or create a type of a feeling that I'm inspiring within my students and aspiring to radiate or think about or meditate upon throughout the classroom day. So nature is a big part of that, words, messages, things like that. So for this particular project, I have some pressed leaves my students last year, and I collected these leaves in a local park, pressed them between black construction paper and a book, and I also made some extra copies in case other projects come down the road where we want to use those. So that they kept their color pretty well. These were fall leaves. And then I had been donated by my co-teacher a door. So this door has 4 panels. I've got 4 phrases I want to decoupage on these panels. And I want to make it kind of look like you're looking out of a sort of late fall window is kind of what inspired me here, or like a door with glass panes. And so here's where we are so far. It's a pretty big project. So you can see the 4. That one's already done and drying. So now I'm going to finish the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th. I'm going to give you a little angle here so you can see what I'm working on. Just like before, in the last project, if you saw my last decoupage project with words, when I was working on the African woman with locks, I'm still murdering the ABC Murders by Agatha Christie. So I've got my good old Mod Podge here, putting the leaves down first. I like to have it in a little container to help me keep the right amount. And I've got my, let's see, this is already glued down, so now I'm ready to just, as always, decoupage on the top so that it can stick. And the archived, maintain the color. At least some of it. Now leaves are a little bit different because they are photosensitive, so they will react to the light in a special way that other materials might not. C, A, and I got 3 letters here I'm wanting to do. And before I move on, I've taken these letters and traced them with a pencil on the book. I've thought about being sure that they're about the same height. And now I want to just erase those pencil marks before I decoupage, or they will stay forever. And I want to be careful to not get the pencil marks or the eraser residue into the decoupage medium, or it will also stay forever. This is the last time that I'm going to be able to space these out. So I want to make sure it's just the way I like it, because if it's not, I won't have another chance. Once I glue this down, it's down. The paper will rip if I try to move it. Okay. Again, if you have a brayer and you like to make things as perfect as possible, you can use your brayer. These are leaves and such. They're not going to be flat. That's not how God made them, so I'm not worried about that. I don't have that expectation set. There's a life lesson for you. Never expect something from that which is incapable of delivering what your expectation is. Leaves are designed to flow. They are not designed to be flat. Shall not expect that of them. Let's slide this up so you can see me work on the next section. Hopefully you can see the last 2 sections here. Give you a good angle there. let's get these pencil marks off. And I know sometimes people like to think, oh, I'd like to use other images. Magazine images work really well with decoupage mediums, scrap pages, any art pages, pretty much anything that can be glued will glue. We've done beads, coins with decoupage medium. However, I would not suggest things that you've printed with an inkjet printer because the ink can run when you apply the decoupage medium. I also would be very, very cautious about using this on any ink-based or water-based, water-soluble art that you've made by hand, because again, if it smears, it's glued that way forever, and also it discolors, it'll dye the medium. So everything, for example, if you've used orange ink in your art or in your printer, everything will be dyed orange when you're done with your decoupaging. So these leaves I have to put on, as always. Put my medium on the bottom first. Glue that guy on. I'm noticing it's slightly folded. I don't want to rip it, but this is the time to make sure it's right. More on top, especially on that stem. And it will certainly dry clear. Then when you're all done, it can be a good idea to go back over the entire panel just to make sure everything's really well sealed. Make sure everything is a little bit flatter to prevent people knocking it and knocking off jagged edges, which is something I especially need to consider when I'm in a kindergarten classroom. Another reason for me to use things that are special enough, but also not something that's going to be irreplaceable or some type of an heirloom, right? Because these are kindergartners, they're going to touch things. I don't want to have them constantly afraid of breaking things. I do want them to consider and be cautious, or give some care, I should say. But I don't want them to be afraid to touch things in this space where they're supposed to be learning and exploring and curious. I want this to kind of seem like it's fall leaf falling. Get that careful with that little broken edge there. Okay, I want to kind of think about where my letters are going to be before I glue them down. Oh, I almost spelled the word wrong. Oh my goodness, that would have been terrible. Yes, I like that. Again, you'll see as I'm doing this, not really worried about neatness in particular because it's all going to dry clear. And if it bothers me, if I do see any brush strokes or something that I don't like, which I never do with decoupage, but with paint that can happen much more readily because there's pigment. I can always, if it bothers me, I can always go back later and do the whole panel, as I was saying, to get things as smooth as I'd like them to be. Okay, that's good. I like that. Get those guys firmly on here. Cover them up and move on to the last one. And you'll notice a lot of people will say, please use foam brushes. I'm not using a foam brush, I'm using a good old acrylic brush, and that is because I'm not using a brayer step, and I want to have the hardness and the sturdiness of this paintbrush to be able to push these things down a little bit. See, I wasn't giving care. As I put the medium on, I'm kind of trying to skip the step a little bit. Okay, last one. Get these pencil marks off. Oops, my leaves haven't been glued. I forgot. All right, everybody, can you see? Let's flip this over so you can see. So I'm down to my last panel here. Got to do these leaves. Very nice big leaf. You'll notice I give a little extra toward the stem. It will weigh down and sit down the way I'm asking it to. Once it's dry. And again, it's always okay to go back, give another layer. You don't feel like it's the right texture, you don't feel like it's the right thickness, sturdiness, things don't seem like they've glued down the way you want. Go back, add a layer. Again, just like life, you can always go back, add a layer to any work that you're doing, any diet that you're on, any new skill you want to learn. You can always go back and add to it. Learn more. Work at it again. Rework it. Reconsider. Friends, we're almost done. Hope you'll try it. Throw me a comment. Tell me what you think you'd like to do. You need some messages around you. If you're a teacher, you need some messages in your room. If you're not a teacher, you need some messages in your house. You need some messages in your work. You need messages wherever you are going to have to be and think and exist, and especially have a community with others. everything's down, I'll set those aside for washing. Let me just give you one more good image of this whole thing. I am, I can, I ought, and I will. There it is. Thanks for joining me again. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you try it. I'd love to see pictures of what you do. Blessings, joy, and peace to you. Choose your messages. Put them all around you. Decorate your life.